The day.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Alec, Torelli, and welcome to an episode of The Hand of the Day. Today's hand comes from one of my readers, Casey, who's playing some live poker, a 1-2 cash game, and he has a ridiculous hand that he sends to me. So check this out. Casey raises to 16 at 1-2, right? Early position with 2 aces. He's loving it, right? Gets a call from seat 4. And gets a call from seat 9. Now they're pretty deep here at this 1-2 game. They all have, like 300 big blinds. So super deep stacked, great spot, and they go 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes 9-9-5 rainbow. Casey checks, seat 4 checks, and the button checks as well. Now I'm okay with Casey's check here on this flop. I think betting is fine too. I think you're gonna be betting with a lot of bluffs, so you might wanna bet with 2 aces here. But on these paired boards, the 9-9X, it's really hard to get 3 streets of value. So you gotta check 1 street. The flop, I guess, is fine. And if you think your opponents are more likely to bluff than they are to call a bet, then checking could be a reasonable play because you can sort of make your hand look weaker than it is and hope that they start barreling the flop and then continue bluffing in the turn in the river, and you could win more money that way. So I'm okay with checking the flop. It gets checked around and we go to the turn. Turn comes an ace of diamonds, so totally rainbow board here. Casey has an absolute lock. I don't even know how this hand's gonna make it on the hand of the day because it is such a monster. But Casey goes and bets 100 here. And he says to me, I'm reading his email, he says that he felt like he had a read on seat 4 who he thought had a 9 on the flop. Just something about the way he checked, he got super silent, he started looking away, all these physical live tells. He was pretty sure that on the flop, his opponent in the middle had a 9. So he goes ahead and bets 100 here, which is a pretty damn big bet. The pot is only like 40-45. So it's a huge bet here. That's twice the pot. So now he's like even more sure that this guy has a 9 because he had a read on the flop that the guy had a 9, and then he calls a 2x pot bet on the turn. So it's really likely that he has a pretty decent part of this board, and the button seat 9 calls as well. So now Casey's kind of like trying to figure out what's going on, right? He thinks one guy has a 9, but do they both have 9s? Does the other guy have 5s full? Or maybe the other guy has the case ace. But remember, Casey has 2 aces, and there's an ace on the board. So there's only 1 ace left in the deck, so they both can't have aces. So one guy sort of has to have a 9 in this spot, which is important to keep in mind, right? Like, that some guy has a massive hand on this board with you because there are no real other draws or hands that they can justify calling 2x pot with on the turn. So now we go to the river. The pot's building up, pot's 350. And the river comes another 9, which is a pretty brutal card here. Brutal because, of course, now your opponents can improve to have you beat, but also you don't cooler 5s full anymore, right? So like now 5s full has a pretty easy check fold. The good news is that if someone has an ace, they're really unlikely to fold their hand, but now you have 2 people in the pot. So remember, someone probably has an ace, but the other guy probably has a 9. So you're really hoping that someone has an ace and someone has 5s full, because if someone has a 9, you're in a really tricky spot. And it's also a tough spot because you don't know how people are going to react. Some people in these small, low-limit cash games will overplay an ace in this spot and just like raise all in or go all in or whatever because they're like, oh, I have 9s full of aces. I have an amazing, absolute strength hand, not thinking about the relative strength of their hand given how the people play the hand. So it's a really tough spot, especially in these low-limit games where you just don't know how people are going to react. With that in mind, Casey checks the river, which I think is an okay play. I think bet folding might be fine if you're sure about how your opponents are going to react on the river, if you know that they're never going to shove unless they have a 9. But it's hard if you bet in this spot and someone just shoves because they have an ace and you don't know whether to call or fold. So I'm okay. I guess I'm okay with checking. I'm also okay with bet folding. And in certain extreme spots, I guess bet calling would be fine too. So he checks. Now, seat 4, who he thought had a 9 the whole time, bets 100. So super small bet, right? And now the button calls. Folded back, it's background on Casey, and the pot's huge. Pot's 550, he only has to call 100. So only needs to be right like 15-20% of the time to justify calling here. That being said, he's like, well, I understand his logic. He's thinking is he asked me like, what could one guy be betting with and what could the other guy be calling with that I beat both of their hands. So you're really hoping that like someone's bluffing or betting with fives full and that the other guy has an ace. But it's like hard for both of them to be bluffing. But at the same time, you have aces full and it's just hard to fold getting like 5.5 to 1, right? Like, I mean, I think if the guy bet 400 and the other guy called, the chances of them having a 9 go up dramatically. But when he bets 100, it's like, it's possible that he's up to something funny. It's possible that he's just like betting with 2 8s just because like people do really weird, crazy stuff in these small games. And if like you're not very sure how your opponents are playing, making these absolute monster hero folds when you're getting a great price is generally not a good strategy. Now, I know I'm gonna get some comments on this because I've done this in a lot of my hand of the day videos where I've made huge folds, sometimes getting an amazing price. And one of the times versus Daniel Negreanu, I was even wrong when I did it. So I don't mean to come off like a hypocrite. I'm just saying like in general, it's generally an okay strategy to pay off in a spot like this when you're getting 5.5 to 1, you have aces full. It's like, how bad could that be? So I think you played it fine. It's a tough spot, pretty brutal beat. This is a ridiculous hand. You end up calling. Seat 4 has queen 9. The other guy has ace king, and you come in second place, which isn't enough to win the pot, but you were close. Anyway, tough beat, man. Thanks for sending me this hand, Casey. It was a fun one. Hope you took something from it, and hope you liked this video. If you guys like this style of content and the way that I explain hands, I highly encourage you to check out some of my premier poker training products. Head over to alectorelli.com or click one of these links here on this video, and you can get your hands on some of my best poker content available on the market. The one thing that I think is really unique about this content is that I use conceptual-based training. So I talk about a general concept of how to think about a hand, how to think about the game of poker, how to play the game of poker, and then I teach you how to apply that to your poker game. So in any situation that you're going to face versus any opponent, and even when the variables change, like the stack sizes, the players, the position, you're playing cash games, you're playing tournaments, the content works because it's a methodology. It's a way of thinking that you could apply to any situation. So I'm really trying to help people be better poker players in general, and I think conceptual-based learning is the best way to do that. So I encourage you guys to check out my products, alectorelli.com/products. And if you guys have questions or hands you'd like to send me, I'm always greatly appreciative. Casey, thanks for sending this. You're a badass. It's a great hand. Get in touch with me, alectorelli.com/contact. I appreciate you guys leaving comments below. Definitely leave me comments with thoughts about this hand or any questions. But if you guys have hands, definitely send them to me on my website because I sincerely read every email, and some of the times things get lost here in the comments on YouTube. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, putting out a lot of new good content soon. And thanks for watching The Hand of the Day. See you guys next time. Cheers.